Sweet Lord, have mercy. Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Esdin Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. We just posted a video up on the YouTube channel where it was off air. I just recorded a quick vid, posted it, and I said, there we go. Back to my lunch over here. Then all of a sudden, breaking gosh darn news from Adam friggin' Schefter. The New York Jets are trading away Elijah Moore. Brutal news, and it's coming obviously on the heels of them signing Mecole Hardman, the former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. You know, not the trade Jet fans I think we're looking for. And, man, I'm seeing it in the comments immediately. First off, if you guys are watching, like the video, hit subscribe down below. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Not the trade I think all of us were looking for. And it was kind of a premeditated attack. As soon as the Jets signed Mecole Hardman, Damian Woody, our good friend, former Jets player and analyst, he immediately said that, man, this could mean a trade. And a trade it does mean. Yes, the Jets, in case you missed it, because a lot of news coming in here all at once. First off, the Jets have signed Mecole Hardman. He's a speedster, formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs, coming off his rookie deal. And, so we'll go into the details because Adam Schefter just confirmed what I was going to suggest. Here's how it all works. Again, Jets signed Mecole Hardman. That happens a little bit ago. Again, he spent his first 4 years in the league with Kansas City. And then he joins the Jets. He's a speedster, 25 years old, just turned 25 earlier this month. Again, he brings 4.33 speed, 40-yard dash. Love Mecole Hardman. Thinks he takes the top off of defense. We just did a video if you guys want to check it out on this. But the worst, the news to the news is the Jets have sent Elijah Moore to the Cleveland Browns. And first off, before we even get into the compensation, which obviously we're about to get into, I just can't believe, man. Elijah Moore, I remember the reports. I think all of us did, so let's kind of talk about it for a second. We all said, wow, we've got a potential superstar in our hands. And it's so hard, guys. It's so very difficult to find talent. Like this. Elijah Moore, 22 years of age, and his Wikipedia is already transferred over to Cleveland Browns land. So, man, these people are fast. But Elijah Moore, 5'10", 178 pounds, of course. He was the Jets draft choice early in the second round, 34th overall, basically a first-round pick. And I remember celebrating when Elijah Moore was drafted by the Jets. He's with A.J. Brown, and they're right there, and he's crying and emotional. We see the pop plays in the first year. Last year, obviously, not as great. And let's be honest, let's pull up the contract. This is another thing that makes it a really hard pill to swallow here. Is that Elijah Moore's dirt cheap? He was a second-round pick. He's got 2 more cheap years on his rookie deal left. So Elijah Moore was a highly attractive commodity. Here is his base salary over the next 2 years. $1.4 million, $1.8 million. He was making friggin' peanuts, people. Elijah Moore was making friggin' peanuts. And all the Jets could get for Elijah Moore is a pick swap? A what? A pick swap? That's what the hell the Jets got for Elijah Moore. Here it is. So first trade comes in. Jets are sending Elijah Moore to the Cleveland Browns. Compensation, the Jets are trading Elijah Moore and their third-round pick to the Browns for their second-round pick. And, Adam Schefter officially confirmed it. Now the Jets will have back-to-back picks in the second round, number 42 overall and number 43 overall. The pick they sent to Cleveland was number 74 overall. So with that, the Jets no longer have a pick in the third round. I have this up on Tankathon here. So the Jets no longer, like I said, have a pick in the third round. So here's what the Jets have. Let's take a quick gander here at the overall Jets draft board. I'll actually throw this up on the big board so you guys can see it as well. Here's what the Jets are working with pick-wise here, thanks to our friends over at Tankathon for the full draft order. And it's not fully updated yet. So they have the 13th overall pick, their own first-round pick. They now have back-to-back second-round picks, very high second-round picks, I might add. They have 42nd overall and 43rd overall, thanks to the Elijah Moore trade. 74 now goes to Cleveland. And let's look at the rest of the board here for the Jets. They still have their 4th-round pick. That's 112th overall. They have their 5th-round pick, which is 143rd overall. In the 6th round, they have a 6th-rounder they got from San Francisco. They have that one. as well, 207 overall. I believe that was the Jordan Willis trade. They do not have a 7th-round pick. That went to the Buccaneers and part of the Steve McClendon trade. So all in all now, the Jets have their 1st-round pick, 2 second-round picks, no 3rd-round pick anymore. They have their 4th, let me just make sure I'm doing this right. The 4th, their 5th, and then the 6th. So they still have 6 picks because this was just a pick swap for the New York Jets. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I am disappointed. First off, I'm disappointed because I loved Elijah Moore, the player. When they grabbed him, I said, oh, this kid could be good. And of course, he showed us he could be good. But, reacting to this news, basically live breaking news. I mean, a pick swap? I mean, I thought Elijah Moore was going to, again, the cheap contract years. Young, he's 22. I mean, he's just a baby, for Pete's sake. So the youth, the contract status, I thought the Jets would get really good value if they ever chose to move him and they move him up for a pick swap. Maybe this is, again, a bigger move for a bigger move. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer because there's been a lot of positivity, and there's going to be, and I claim to be the self-proclaimed most optimistic Jets fan on the planet. But guys, there is a lot going on here. So, wow, maybe more moves to come here. Let's try to answer all your comments. And guys, feel free. So first off, if you're watching live or after the fact for that matter, the free way to contribute is by liking the video and hitting subscribe down below for more spectacular content. You guys can also use the YouTube Super Chat feature if you'd like to get involved on the show. And I see we have one in here, so I will go to that. This one's coming in from James. What a waste of talent. Trade away someone who could be a star for a scrub who had Mahomes throwing to him and couldn't do anything. What a joke. Yeah, I'm upset too, James, and we will give you the numbers on Mecole Hardman. We did it on the other video, but worth doing live here as well. We have a straight-up video on it as well. Mecole Hardman, again, he's young. He's a speedster, but he's never been this dynamic wide receiver. And what I mean by that is like a true number 1 or anything of that nature. Here are his numbers. He's had 4 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 4 and 6, 16 total over 4 years. He's a deep threat that could take the top off of a defense. He's never had more than 693 receiving yards in any given season. He hasn't had more than 59 catches. His best year was in 2021. He's coming off a ho-hum nothing year, 25 catches, 297 and 4 tutties. But he is just a speedster that brings something different to the table. But to your point, James, I mean, he's no Elijah Moore, but and again, we'll kind of evaluate the whole picture here. Did Elijah want to be here in the middle? And let's not forget, of course, in the middle of a winning streak, Elijah Moore said, I request a trade. And a lot of us were like, what the hell, man? But we finally have good vibes here on the Jets. The Jets haven't been to the playoffs in 12 years. Like, what can we do to try to make this happen and be possible and all these other things? So, it's a really disappointing. It's really disappointing from that perspective. James, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate the support. But man, that's tough. And to see him go to Cleveland, where he's going to be catching passes from Deshaun Watson, there will be no shortage of that. I am absolutely certain. All right, let's go. Hawk, let's go to you. Oh, you want to trade? Boom, go freeze your ass off in Cleveland while we're winning a championship, baby. So sorry. Yeah, again, I think eventually I'll get to that point where, hey, man, if you don't want to be here, then don't be here. And obviously, there were points last season, and who knows if that percolated and continued into the offseason. You don't want to be here. And again, as Jet fans, and I know this, we saw it with Jamal Adams. We turned on him very quickly, although you could argue he turned on us, is that, if you don't want to be here, peace, deuces, there's the door. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. You don't want to be a part of this thing, then get out. Leave. So there is a little bit of that there for sure. Dang. Yeah, that's my reaction. I'm just like, I didn't think, I saw Damian Woody's post, and I think there's more to come. Like, to me, Corey Davis and Allen Lazard are the same person. Lazard's just bigger and healthier. Like, Corey Davis is gone. So now all of a sudden you start evaluating the wide receiver room. Maybe the OBJ dream is back alive because you start evaluating the wide receiver room, right? You got Allen Lazard, brand new. He's in. He's not going anywhere. You have Garrett Wilson. He ain't going nowhere. Now you have Allen. So let's see. You have Allen Lazard. You have Garrett Wilson. You have Mecole Hardman coming in, but it's a 1-year deal. So, what are we doing? Corey Davis, I think Corey Davis is gone. I'd be surprised if somehow he stayed in the mix. And then you have Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims also requested a trade. So maybe OBJ is still back in the mix, and your top 3 are some combination of, you have Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard and like OBJ Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman, I saw a tweet at Adam Schefter. I'm doing a lot more in the jet sweeps up there in New York, so maybe they sold him. They must have on some sort of pitch to be a bigger piece of this offense. And of course, we can't, like Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball. Again, that trade obviously not official as we continue to wait for that, but just from that perspective. Another super chat coming in here. And again, guys, those are open. Appreciate the support for the channel. That means a lot. I try to get to all your questions, but the super chats are guaranteed to get answered here on the show. So let me see. I just saw the super chat come in. Let's throw this one in. Number one Volo fan. This could be a 3-team trade with Green Bay and Cleveland. It could be expanded out to that. We don't normally see, to your point, number one Volo fan, 3-team trades in the NFL very often, but they can happen. So it could be part eventually. And sometimes this happens where you agree to a trade and then the other trade is close. So maybe this could equate to the Packers wanted a little more. Maybe the Jets can keep 13, but they package some combination of 42, 43. By the way, they better not include 42 and 43 for Aaron Rodgers. That, to me, is a little aggressive. I don't want to go that far. To me, what I'm comfortable with on the Aaron Rodgers thing is 42 or 43 now that both are available, and then a conditional pick in the future. Is it 2024? Is it 2025? I don't know. And then, boom, that's it. You can take Corey Davis, too. That's the deal. I'm not going 42 and 43. Hell no. That would be the quasi, to your point, Villa, potentially of Elijah Moore being, quote-unquote, involved in the trade, potentially. But no, not cool with this. Not cool with that. So maybe it ends up being a 3-team trade. Long story short, Volo. There is more to be decided here, but, there could. I think, again, it would be surprising. Stunning, quite frankly, if Corey Davis was still a member of this team. It seems like him and Alan Lazard do the same thing. So it would be odd. It would be a little weird, to be honest with you, Volo. But appreciate the super chat. That's fantastic. Let's try to work through here. We're getting a lot of comments from all you guys. And by the way, I appreciate it. Also, random note, you guys may be wondering what the hell happened to Boy Green on Twitter. Hacked on Twitter. So right now, no tweets coming out of the tweet storm. I got hacked on Saturday. Whoever took over the account and made all these crazy changes, by the way. So no tweets from Boy Green. Right now I'm doing it on my Jet Zone account, which has like 800 followers. So I know not the same reach. So hopefully at some point, that's kind of weird, but hopefully at some point we could get that Twitter account back sometime later this week or something. So TBD. Hopefully the Aaron Rodgers trade waits for that, please. Boy Green can't do Jets Twitter if he's not on Twitter. But either here nor there. But just wanted to throw that out there. So the gosh darn hackers, come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? And what the hell? Well, the good news is, as I will just say this, that they're not like sending out Wang picks or something. So I guess it could be worse. But they're just not doing it. They just took over the account and just kind of put it on cruise control. They basically, to be honest, they gagged me and threw me in a closet. So I'm just. I'm not saying anything, and neither is my Twitter account, so I'm just kind of buried. So hopefully, Elon Musk, if you're out there, hey, hook a brother up, man. I'd like to get back on Twitter if I can. But again, we've got big things to talk about. All right, let's get to a couple more here. Let's go to T. Rivera. See this one just coming in. Boy Green, remember, he asked for a trade on a winning streak. That's really selfish. If you ask me, plus, it's not the Jets' fault. Zach Wilson sucked and couldn't throw him the ball to anyone for that matter. # toxic. Yeah, again, a couple of things here. First off, on the Zach Wilson thing, he was the number 2 overall pick. What choice did they have? Are they going to jump on the Mike White train or the Chris Strevler train? Of course, they had to continue to ride the Zach Wilson thing. And then in terms of requesting a trade, again, we'll see if it's true, but let's go to Alan Lazard. During his interviews, he did an interview with the Jets team behind the scenes one-on-one, and he also did interviews with the media. He said, I don't care about the stats or anything, Alan Lazard. He said, I just want to win. If we're winning, I don't care. So hopefully that's the mentality as the Jets potentially add more receivers to the room, and they all have that selflessness. Like, guys, we could win a championship. How about that? That's pretty important. It also sucks now not thinking about what Aaron Rodgers could have meant for Elijah Moore, him not being here. So that one's a Debbie Downer too, to be honest. But good point. Let's see, KJ Frederick. We get an Odell or Hopkins. I hope so, to be honest. I thought with the Mecole Hardman thing, I'm like, maybe no OBJ. Wait a second, maybe OBJ. I think Cobb's coming for sure. I think he basically replaces Jeff Smith as wide receiver 5. I think that happens. So Cobb in, Jeff Smith out, who obviously already signed with the Giants. And then we start evaluating kind of the rest of it. I think Alan Lazard replaces Corey Davis. So he's either part of the Packers trade or he gets traded off. somewhere else as well. Mims could be traded. He's in the last year of his rookie deal. That could potentially happen. There is, but like on OBJ, first off, like the fact of the matter is that, honestly, there's been a lot of smoke between OBJ and the Jets, almost too much. Like, whoa, like, is this happening? Zach Rosenblatt, Rich Cimini, Jets people, Odell people, like there's just a lot. And he's been tweeting at Jet players tweeting at him. I don't know. OBJ seems like it's going to happen to the Jets, but I just had a video earlier, like, I guess it's dead because of Mecole Hardman, because, like, Mecole is kind of replacing Braxton Berrios. Is that returner, gadget guy? He's faster than Braxton, obviously. He's faster. He could take the top off of defense. He could provide a little bit more from that perspective, but I think that as well. And Hardman obviously is a nice returner. He could do jet sweeps, end arounds. There's a lot of creativity, and Nathaniel Hackett, I'm sure, will be drooling over the ways he can use Mecole Hardman. But I still think there is space on the roster if you do want to be an OBJ, if you do want to go in the Hopkins route and just, again, score all the damn points. I know all these Jet fans are saying, hey, excuse me, what about the interior defensive line? And someone else, the safety position, that needs to be addressed. All these Jet fans coming out of the woodwork, come and score some gosh darn points, baby. So while, sure, I'd like those things too, I'm not going to complain. You ain't going to hear me complain. I don't know. I think we have too many weapons. The hell we don't. With all the injuries that happen in the NFL, give me all the friggin' weapons humanly possible. Aaron freaking Rodgers, I can't wait to watch Aaron freaking Rodgers going boom, 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 dipping and diming all over the gosh darn field with all these weapons, man. It's going to be freaking spectacular. Again, these players just bring a little bit of chutzpah to the team that's just going to be freaking Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Alan Lazard, of course, we've seen what he could do with Aaron Rodgers. That, to me, would be spectacular and really entertaining. So I really hope we see it, quite frankly. I really hope we see it. All right, guys, let me just try to jump through here in the comments. Kevin _Chata, this trade has proven to me JD should only be in charge of the draft. I don't know. He's been really good historically in trades, so maybe there's something greater. And until otherwise proven, I will have to see. Because again, on the surface, as you see in the headline, a pick swap, like what the hootenanny? What? I get it. 74-42 is 30 spots, 30 plus spots. It's 42. So what? 52, 62, 72, 32. So I mean, that's a full round, essentially, of spot pops moving forward. I mean, that's significant, absolutely. And, while it's not quite in the 30s, where that's still a first-round pick, that's massive. But still, I thought a little bit more than a pick swap for Elijah Moore, who is so talented. So I'm a little disappointed, quite frankly, with that haul. And then, quite frankly, disappointed that he's just moved in general. I did not want to move Elijah Moore. I did not. I like Elijah Moore a lot, but unfortunately, and one of the things, I don't know if I just want to call him out, but I do just have to say in general that, like, it sucks that A.J. Brown kind of got in his head, his buddy, saying, hey, man, you should demand a trade. Do what I did with the Titans. That to me was a little messed up. Like, kind of, AJ, stay in your lane, pal. Every situation is different, and I think he had bad people in his ear whispering him all kinds of things about grandeur and everything else that affected him, because obviously you got the Red Star, I believe is what it's called, from the Jets, which is high character guys, and those are the guys like team leaders and stuff like that. So I do think ultimately that he just got the wrong people whispering in his ear, whether it's his agent or AJ Brown or anyone for that matter. Oh, Browns fan in here. Okay. Jonathan Mann, Browns fan here. Did Moore not thrive because of Wilson? Yeah, let's go through some things here. First off, first season, obviously. Moore was there, Wilson was there, but there was a lot of injuries, Jonathan. By the way, thank you so much for the super chat. Browns fan, Jet fan, whatever fan you are, we don't discriminate here. We appreciate all super chats, brother. Yeah, I mean, last season, obviously, Elijah Moore struggled because of the quarterback situation. There's just no doubt about it. They used 4 different quarterbacks last year. It was Zach Wilson, it was Chris Trevler, it was Joe Flacco, and Mike White in some order throughout the season. And Elijah Moore, according to the advanced analytics, we're talking separation and being open. Like, he was open. They weren't throwing him the ball. The weird thing is like Mike LaFleur. So I don't know if it was a Mike LaFleur problem. Was he too in over his head and he couldn't handle, like Elijah Moore, and the Elijah Moore requested a trade, Denzel Mims requested a trade? Is that a Mike LaFleur problem, not being able to coach the player? I don't know, ultimately. But to answer your question, last season he did not thrive because of Wilson probably 70%, 80%, some overwhelming percentage. Although he was in his own head. Like the Vikings game, he had this he ran this perfect route, got a great throw, but although Mike White was throwing him the ball, and he didn't do the toe drag that every receiver's supposed to do. And a lot of us went, what the hell? It was at the end of the first half, and he just didn't do what he normally does, or any receiver for that matter, as they're trained and developed and everything. We're like, the heck? So there was just moments where Elijah Moore was just kind of dumb stuff. I think it was the Patriot game after the punt return touchdown where the Patriots, there's a memory, folks, where the Patriots do it and then Elijah Moore gets a kickoff return. The Jets are going to have a chance. He runs out the clock and then goes out of bounds. We're like, what the? So there's that one. There was the Lions game where he had the great catch from Zach, but he wasted time kind of running around. So if he would have just went straight down, the Jets could have, had an opportunity, have a few more seconds, maybe get a little bit closer for the field goal. Again, I don't want to nitpick, of course, because at least he caught the ball and gave them a chance. But yes, I would say for the majority, Jonathan, it was because of the quarterback situation. He was getting open, but there were also some weird with Elijah Moore. And obviously, take this for what you will, Jonathan, with any Browns fans that are joining us here. The fact of the matter is Elijah Moore is talented. He's 22 years of age. He has superstar potential. I can say that without a shadow of a doubt. He's got that kind of potential underneath the surface. But I'm going to be curious in a place like Cleveland, right? You got Amari Cooper, who's a very proven wide receiver, very good. You guys got all kinds of obviously other Donovan Peoples-Jones, and I'm an overall NFL guy, so I know the roster a little bit for all these teams. So you guys got some pieces over there. But Elijah Moore can be really effective. But as you saw, in the middle of his second season, the Jets are friggin' winning. And while, sure, he wasn't involved, it wasn't getting targets, which feeds obviously into the trade request. But, I mean, despite the fact they're winning, he requested a trade. So I think Browns fans and any fans of whoever Elijah Moore ends up ultimately being on a team on, you're going to be a little like, whoa, like, what's the problem here? At any point could he burst? Again, it's like the guy who's in your office. At any point he can snap. You're kind of like on edge because he showed a little bit of a sign with the trade request. You're like, huh? What the? So moving forward, it'll always be like, I'm going to keep an eye on you, Elijah Moore. I'm not. You had that one outburst at one time in that group meeting. Going to have to kind of keep an eye out for you. So that's what you're going to have to do, Jonathan. No question about it. All right, guys, keep them coming in. I see you guys are sending hundreds of comments in here. It's awesome. Again, if you're watching live or after the fact, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe. We just recently passed over 4,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, baby. So it's absolutely amazing. And Jonathan, appreciate the second super chat. I know you asked about that. We just answered it. So I try to get to you guys as quickly as possible. So guys, keep it going. But yes, so we just recently passed 4,000 subscribers. Absolutely spectacular. It's awesome. Keep them coming. Again, the super chats guarantee. If you guys are watching, I promise you that I will get to your comment. Everyone else, they're just kind of a free-for-all. I'll just try to grab as many random comments as I can because there's hundreds of them in here. And let us know how you feel about this Elijah Moore situation. I'm going to be honest. I'm conflicted. And I mentioned it earlier, but at one point, I'm like, hey, if you don't want to be here, then there's the door. But again, he was 22 years old. He was a great draft pick by Joe Douglas. He was supposed to be a key cog, but it seems like, obviously, that he didn't want to be here. So I'll be interested to hear from General Manager Joe Douglas when we do some of this coming up here. Oh, I just saw Garrett Wilson reacted to the Elijah Moore trade. Oh, boy. Let's see what this is. Let's see the reaction from Garrett Wilson. I imagine not great. Although I'm not sure if they're, conversating and talking to, Garrett Wilson, what they ultimately believe. Let's see. Let me see what whole Garrett Wilson said. We'll see. I'm getting that on the Bleacher Report update. Let me take a little gander, get the reading glasses here. Just know, Garrett Wilson with the no and the crying emoji. I'm sure he loved Elijah Moore. I'm sure a lot of the players did. Elijah Moore was super talented, but again, the Jets have to make some business decisions, and obviously they did from that standpoint. So we will see, though. It will be very interesting to see ultimately where the Jets are going from that standpoint. I'm hearing some Nania stuff here from Jets X Factor. Let me see on the pick combinations. I heard he may have some insight, so let's see. Yeah, so here it is. Interesting from Michael Nania. Let's read this. Again, you can follow him. He's part of the Jets X Factor team. In terms of trade value points, the Jets essentially just netted the value of the 66 overall pick, which is a high third, by going from 74 to 42. So it's really not awful value, but man, I like Moore's film a lot and thought he deserved a shot in New York with a real quarterback. So they got like a high third round pick for him, technically speaking, in terms of value. If you look at the draft value chart, they end up going up into the second round. Again, I prefer actually having different picks than just using it as a pick swap. Forever Green. Realize we just traded more for Aaron Rodgers. If that isn't true, yeah, we do have 2 second round picks. We have 42 and 43rd overall. Again, will this be a part of a bigger trade for Evergreen? It's a key point because what I have said for a long time now, is I believe the Aaron Rodgers trade is a second rounder this year, which was 43. They now have 42 and 43 from that perspective. And you combine a second rounder with a conditional pick in the future. Now, whether that's 2024 or 2025, one of the two, because if it's 2025, you can base it purely off if Aaron Rodgers ends up playing. If it's in 2024, you could do it if like he's on the roster by the third day of the new league year. But like that conversation would be had on both sides about whether or not that plays. So I think it's a second this year, conditional pick in the future, and then probably like Corey Davis. Could be Denzel Mims. It could be something of that nature. I think Davis is 100% in, and then it could additionally be a guy like Denzel Mims, possibly. So we'll see. So, but yes, to your point, if you look at it from that light, potentially, if the Jets only end up giving up 42 or 43, then they gave up Elijah Moore for Aaron Rodgers. Although it will depend because they didn't get a straight up second round pick. They had to swap. They moved 74 and Elijah Moore. So it's just kind of moving a pick up. So it's not straight up. I wish it was. I wish as part of that trade, potentially, it would have just been Elijah Moore for a second or Elijah Moore for whatever, and then you'd have a little bit more clarity. But that is a good point. It certainly could end up playing out that way for Evergreen. Thanks for the super chat. We'll have to see. Again, could this be a part of a bigger trade potentially? We will see. Let's see. Arizona Jet here jumping in. The Darth Vader avatar. Very nice. Jets lost that trade. Moore was going to cook. Shame. Shame. Game of Thrones. Shame. 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 Yeah, I don't love the trade. I'm just going to be blunt. Do not love the trade. I think Elijah Moore is he's young. Not that I think. I mean, he is 22 years of age. Next 2 years are dirt cheap. Both years under $2 million per year. Chump change. Bottom of the barrel. I probably have $2. Not 2 million, but I probably have under 2 million. Like we were talking about, like $2. I got like $2 in my couch cushion. Like, what are we doing here? But again, maybe there's a bigger plan at stake. Are the Jets still going to bring in OBJ? I mentioned earlier on my Mecole Hardman video prior to knowing about the Elijah Moore deal that I'm like, ooh, maybe this means OBJ's out. With now Elijah Moore out, maybe OBJ is in. But still, how do you feel about Mecole Hardman, a 25-year-old speedster, and then OBJ, who's 30 and coming off of 2 ACL injuries? Now, I love OBJ, and I'd love to bring him here. I think the whole thing could be spectacular. But, man, it is a shame because I would have loved to see what it will forever now be a what-if question. What if Elijah Moore look like with Aaron Rodgers? Because we're not going to see it, obviously. He's now a member of the Cleveland Browns. But I am going to forever be curious about, man, what could it have looked like? What could it have looked like if ultimately he got that opportunity? But we'll never see it. And whether or not you want to blame Elijah Moore or you want to blame somebody else, it's just absolutely sad. More than anything, Arizona Jet. More than anything, it's just kind of sad, to be honest with you, that this is where ultimately we had to go. This is the place in which we had to go, is that Elijah Moore scoring touchdown. It's going to hurt me. I'm going to be honest. If I'm watching a Cleveland Browns game this year and Deshaun Watson hits him with, hits him with a touchdown pass for 80 yards, I'm just going to be like, damn, man, that would have been nice on the Jets. So forever we'll kind of have that perspective on it, and that's kind of sad. Which stinks because Elijah Moore's really good. The good news, hopefully, is that now you bring in Mecole Hardman, who can take the top off of a defense and bring some new things to the table. NY2FLA joining us, Jet fan, my good buddy. Brand new NFL jerseys, never worn. Jersey numbers are 2 and 8. That's right. Zach Wilson, apparently, firmly on the block. We will see. I heard from Rich Cimini. I haven't been able to, again, because my Twitter was hacked, unfortunately. So hopefully I get that Twitter back soon. But I had a bunch of Twitter draft nuggets ready to send out. And one of them was from Rich Cimini on the Flight Deck podcast. He said that his understanding is that Zach Wilson is going to be the backup quarterback for the New York Jets. He will probably be, is how he set it up, because I think it's contract structure related. Again, the 11 million and change, he's probably going to be QB2. So I won't say I will be surprised if they move on, although they did do kind of the hell or high water quote. So it would be kind of weird to say that then trade him. I know GM speak and all that jazz, but so 2 may not be available. But 8 is now maybe. And by the way, 8, interesting. Aaron Rodgers jersey number at Cal, 8. That's true. Let me pull that up. Actually, that'll be good to bring up. We won't need much of a jersey swap here. Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up on the screen for you guys. Let me go to the images. Let me see. Here we go. Let me see. Let's throw it up on the screen so y'all can see it. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Let's share that on the screen for you guys. For those who are unaware, Aaron Rodgers, number 8 in college for the old California. Let me see. Whoopsie. Here we are. And booyah. Look, there he is. Boop. Aaron Rodgers, number 8. Perhaps. I don't think that's a reason old Elijah was dealt, but there he is, Aaron Rodgers in the number 8 jersey. So could be coming down the pike. Could be. I like number 8. My dad's a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, so Troy Aikman, of course. So number 8 could be there. 2, I'm not sure. Again, I don't know. Aaron Rodgers kind of kicked the can down the road on number 12. Again, of course, Joe Namath's jersey was retired in 1985. Joe Namath said he's willing to rip it off the rafters. We'll see if that is indeed the case. Michael Dubois joining us. Well, if Rodgers doesn't wear 12, now he can wear his college number 8. Boom. Good riddance, more. Or requesting a trade in year 2 of a rookie deal when winning. Yeah, a couple of things. First off, if he does not wear 12, we don't know. Aaron Rodgers was asked about that on the Pat McAfee show that went viral last week, where, again, people, let's just take a minute. I'm playing football in 2023, and my intention is to play for the New York Jets. Those words came out of Aaron friggin' Rodgers' mouth. Unbelievable. Spectacular. Love it. Back to this. He was asked about Joe Namath, and then he said, that's a conversation for down the road. I'm having this conversation to clarify a bunch of things. We'll talk about that later. Plus, of course, he's still a member of the Green Bay Packers, although maybe this accelerates the process now having some more picks to work with, potentially. Although I'm sure the Packers would have loved to have Elijah Moore, but go figure. So it could be 8, which was his college number. You just saw it there. The former California product could be, and good riddance. I'm sure fans are split. Actually, I could see in the comments that quite literally you guys are split from that perspective. Half of you are like, again, Elijah Moore's young, talented. He could have been something here. Would have been great with Aaron Rodgers. And the other half, I think, are in your camp, Michael Dubois. And that is, he requested a trade in year 2. Who the hell do you think you are, Elijah Moore, at 22 years of age? You're going to be telling everybody else who, by the way, Elijah Moore turns 23 later this week. Not sure he's going to get many happy birthday messages from Jet fans, but that's neither here nor there. But a 22-year-old demanding a trade during a winning streak? Like, I think a lot of people, again, are going to have that perspective, like, screw you, pal. And I would not be surprised. But again, me personally, I'm very conflicted on the matter. He's a young man, super talented, but it's too bad. I can't believe it. But again, a pick swap, I still can't quite get past that. Moore never got a chance. I'm not sure I'll go that far, Casey, but, obviously it was disappointing this past year because he didn't really have many chances with that quarterback play. But we'll see. Mojo Jets, who cares about the jersey number? Mojo Jets, I love that. You could wear 666. I wouldn't care as long as we win, which, by the way, I think the Jets are going to be firmly in the winning conversation. I'm going to look forward to the primetime games. That'll be nice. I think we did a video on this. About the primetime games. Any NFL team is allowed a maximum of 5. And when I say primetime, I mean true primetime. Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, like true primetime games. Now, national games, Peter King believes the Jets could have 10 or 11. And that means America's game of the week, the solo game at 4 o'clock or 4:25. So they could have a lot of opportunities. And I am very much looking forward to all of that. Oscar Flores, an interesting comment here. Good riddance, Moore. We want team players. This too shall pass, Paul. Again, you feel like almost that like little, whatever the conscience is on the shoulder. Like, Paul, I know you may be a little upset about Elijah Moore, but this too shall pass, young man. Remember, we have Aaron Rodgers. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, Oscar Flores, my conscience on my shoulder. you're right. It will pass. Right now, painful. But yeah, right now, painful. Let me throw this one up here from Mr. McMoney. RIP 1 p.m. games. As a father of a 1-year-old beautiful daughter, 1 p.m. games, the elite time for games. I'm getting old, but I will stack it up for primetime games. Having primetime Aaron Rodgers, that's different than primetime Jets over the last couple of years. Rich Samini, good nugget. The Jets have had, I think it's 10 primetime games since 2017. I may be butchering that nugget. I tweeted it out on the Jet Zone account. But, you know, they've only had 10 primetime games, which is the fourth fewest in the NFL during that time span. But primetime games with Aaron Rodgers is different because Aaron Rodgers is like, ooh, got a little sizzle, got a little pep in the step, baby. So I like primetime games with Aaron Rodgers, and I'm looking forward to that. So my favorite game or production game is Sunday Night Football. So I really like that. I really like the Sunday Night Football. And I know you guys can hear the random toys in the background. That is my 1-year-old playing with some toys. So I'm seeing the little monkey thing she's bringing. Yes, hello. Yeah, she seems just as excited about the Elijah Moore trade as all of you. So oh, good Lord, have mercy. Thank God my beautiful fiance is taking care of all that while I'm trying to do a live stream. Let's see. Primetime games suck for people who actually go to the game. That's probably true. I do have at least one game I'm going to. That'll be the road game for the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm sure I'll be going to more than that. I'm sure we'll probably be going to like the season opener or something. Something from that perspective would be a lot of fun. So we will see who the Jets end up playing there. Peter King's, by the way, his prognostication is the Jets will either get the Sunday night game or the Monday night game week 1. But you are probably right. I haven't gone, actually. Let me think. I don't think I've been to a primetime Jets game. I do not believe that I have. So I have not been to a primetime Jets game, but I'm sure that's a lot different because you're kind of waiting all day. Primetime sucks for people at 4 a.m. Yeah, so see, there's a lot of people. That is like the loudest toy in history. But yes, I'm sure primetime does suck for a lot of those. But let's try to enjoy it because, you know, it's not every day you get Aaron Rodgers. Fred Stanley, I'd rather Moore over OBJ. I hope they don't sign OBJ. We'll see, because again, earlier I just had a video out where I thought it was for sure that it was over, but maybe not. Maybe it's still possible. Yeah, if the choice was Moore or OBJ, obviously you want the younger guy, but OBJ, obviously, this has to be established. He has a way higher ceiling, obviously. OBJ is a freak, man. He had the one-handed catch. He's one of the most talented wide receivers in the NFL. He'd be right up there, right next to Garrett Wilson in terms of pure talent on this roster. So I know there's a lot of people who don't like OBJ, but if you get Aaron Rodgers, you go all in everywhere else on the roster. You just try to do whatever you can to bring him in and try to win as many games as possible. Kev_Chata. Trade is not the problem. Stop fixating on that. The problem is selling more at his lowest trade value. Well, again, Kev, to your point, I'm sure the Jets would have loved to trade Elijah Moore if they had to at his highest value. But I think it's also fair to mention, you don't realize you're going to trade him until he is at his lowest value. So take that for what you will. Yeah, sure. Could they have brought him into camp and, you know, try to get some things going? All of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers throwing him touchdowns and then you trade him? But you wouldn't want to do that. If success was happening, you'd keep him. So it's one in one hand, one in the other, Kev. I understand in theory what you're saying. But no, I don't think so. I just don't. Like, I hear what you're saying, but I just don't think it was possible. KJ Daughtry here. What's your confidence level on the Rodgers trade getting done before the draft? Like 100%. I'm going to be honest. I'm very confident the trade is happening. There's no doubt about it. And then the draft is the big telltale because the Packers, if they want to surround Jordan Love, like Aaron Rodgers is going to be a member of the Jets. That's 100% happening. It's just when is it going to happen? So making sure we establish that right off the get-go. Moving to point number 2, Jordan Love is supposed to be the second coming of the Messiah. Packers fans can't stop drooling about Jordan gosh darn Love. We'll see. But if they want to surround him with pieces that can help him this year, then the deadline's on the Packers. Hey, NFL draft starts April 27th, the day after my birthday, Thursday night. You going to have a trade in by then? I mean, that's where we get a little frisky. That's where we get frisky. So to me, I think 100% it happens. To me, a big pivot point to watch out for, guys, is the NFL owners meetings. That's from March 26th to March 29th. Now, I would assume, I don't know this 1,000%, but I feel pretty confident the majority of the trade conversations between the New York Jets and the Green Bay Packers have been over the phone, Zoom, or something of that nature. Okay. And they've been tossing ideas. They've tossed around, from what I understand, multiple trade packages back and forth. Hey, what if it was this pick and these players? What if it was this pick and these players? And they've been going back and forth about a potential trade. When you're in front of someone, I don't know how many of you guys can relate to this, but when it's a lot harder to avoid someone like, a scam caller calls, they go, boop, ignore. You get boop, ignore. I'm right here. I'm Joe Douglas. You can't ignore me. We're in the same room. We're breathing the same air. So I think the NFL owners meeting in Arizona will be a real pressure point to potentially get this deal over the goal line. We're like, come on. You're here. I'm here. Packers, you don't want Aaron Rodgers. Jets, we want Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wants to be on the Jets. Like, let's figure this thing out. Let's push it over the goal line. What do we need to do? What are we haggling over a round or something? Because here's the thing that's important to know. If the Jets and Packers weren't close on a deal at all, we wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't be here right now if they weren't close. So it's not like the Packers are saying, we want 1 million first-round picks. The Jets go, well, we'll give you a 7th-round pick. If the gap was that big, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So it's obviously close. But how close? And what do we have to do? Who needs to push or pivot to make it happen? Because quite frankly, it behooves everyone to get this trade over with. The Packers can move on with their lives. The Jets can move on with their lives. And of course, obviously, Aaron Rodgers can go to the Jets and everyone can kind of figure their crap out. So all the sides are properly motivated to get this thing done before the draft. So ultimately, I believe it does. Again, I think a big pressure point is coming up later this week, early next week, 26th through the 29th, which is the NFL owners meetings. Those guys can talk. Those guys can chat. And I think handshake, boom, let's get this thing done. Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. That's my gut. That's what I believe. Good question, though, KJ. All right, guys, we'll be on for a few more minutes here. I'll try to answer all your questions. Feel free to send in your YouTube Super Chats, baby. That feature is available for any of you guys right now watching on the YouTube. Feel free to send those in. I will guarantee to answer those questions, and I'll try to answer a few more randomly here as well. So feel free to send those in. Also, like the video, hit subscribe, baby, for fantastic content. Let me see the current number. I love checking this live. We were over 4,000 subscribers. We got pushed over that like within the last couple of weeks. So where are we at right now? 4,121, baby. Excellent. Let's try the chase for 5,000, which is right around the corner. Just in case you're just joining us, a couple of things here which are of great interest. Okay, a couple of things as of great interest here is the trade chart for the Jets and Browns. In case you're just joining us, the Jets are sending pick number 74, which is their 3rd-round pick, and Elijah Moore to trade up to the 2nd round. The Browns will send 42nd overall, and in exchange, they get 74 overall and Elijah Moore. So the Jets now have back-to-back picks in the 2nd round that is 42nd overall and 43rd overall. Again, the trade value chart says Elijah Moore was essentially worth, according to this trade, a high 3rd-round pick, which is very interesting. So those are the... Now, how long do the Jets have, 42 and 43? Who knows? I'll also tell you, for folks who have been a fan of my channel for some time, one of the things we like to do, of course, is a mock draft Monday. And we've been doing that for a lot of years with some spectacular guests like Charles Davis and other big-time people before. To be honest, outside of Trevor Sycamore, who joined me way back when the season ended, back in January, which feels like a different lifetime ago, we have not done a lot of draft content because, quite frankly, I just don't know what pick. Are they just going to have 13? Are they going to swap 13 and 15 and then do something else? I don't know. There's a lot of things hanging out there. So I didn't want to kind of lead you guys on. We're 13, 13, 13. And then just kidding. We never had 13. So, hopefully this trade can happen soon. And then we could go pedal to the metal for the draft and give you guys a lot of great draft content. So keep an eye out for that. FM, Elijah Moore reminds me of Stephen Hill. I don't think it's that bad. Like, Stephen Hill did have some moments too, but he was like a bust and had no value. So obviously Elijah Moore had value in which he was traded for what ends up being a high 3rd-round pick in terms of the draft value chart. So I don't see that comparison outside of they were 2nd-round picks by the Jets. 2nd-round receivers, or receivers picked in the 2nd round, rather. That's really all I can see. Hardman, new wide receiver 1. A little aggressive, but I like the cut of your jib. But yes. And we just did, Kelly. So again, the deal is the Jets send number 74 and Elijah Moore in exchange for the 42nd overall pick. The Jets now have back-to-back picks in the second round, 42 and 43rd overall. Let's see. Rico the Pup. It'd be hilarious if we give the Packers that extra second and get the Packers to give us their third as part of the trade deal. Now, that's something I'm intrigued by. Like, if we're moving picks, maybe the Packers can send us picks back to make things happen. So, yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. We get back into the third round with that Packers pick. We give up that, and we still keep 13 and 42 or 43, and you could still build around that. To me, now, that's interesting. That's what I like, Rico. Very nice. Raw Power. We're crying over a player that has literally done nothing. Well, I mean, there's potential. And I know people say potential, shishmental, but, Elijah Moore was a talented piece. I think a lot of his stock could do some special things, especially with better quarterback play. So I understand both sides, to be honest. Rika the Pup, annoyed we gave that third 100% straight up for 42nd overall. I would be reacting, I think, a lot more differently to this trade. The fact that it ends up being a pick swap, it's a little underwhelming. Clint, Packers don't care what Rodgers wants, which is interesting to me, Clint. And I'm not saying they have to 100%. He's one of their best players, if not the best player in franchise history. You're going to drag him through the mud potentially for weeks on end, knowing he wants to go to the Jets, but just to prove a point, and again, just to get what? An extra round for a certain trade? What are we talking about here? Oh, honestly, what are we talking about here? That to me is a little bonkers. NC, let me throw this up. I will be disappointed we give up both twos. Very disappointed. As will I. 42 and 43 seems a little aggressive for Aaron Rodgers. If we give 42 and 43, give us the third and a bunch of other stuff. Straight up, I don't think so. I do not think so. Skills, baby. Rodgers to Garrett Wilson be electric. Who cares about Elijah Moore? And plus, again, when you factor everyone else in, Mecole Hardman, Alan Lazard, yeah, I mean, I think it will be a lot of pass the biscuits once we start getting people in here. More to Rodgers would have been electric. I agree. I think it would have been pretty spectacular. It's Snoopy. Moore's overrated. He can't take contact, goes backward when he catches the ball. Don't contest catch. Stop crying, people. There you go. Lay it on pretty thick. It's Snoopy, for sure. Salak in 911. So Jets have 13, 42, and 43. There's some theories they are getting their second sacrificial pick for Packers. So they may bundle the 2 picks to move up to 19th pick with Tampa. Interesting. Well, it depends, because that's a really interesting side point to make real quick. Salak. Is this. First off, if the Jets lost 13, would they trade back from now 42, 43 to recoup the picks they lost in a Rodgers trade, or vice versa? If they lose 13, would they all of a sudden trade up? Or maybe even if they don't lose 13, will they still trade up and try to, again, quote unquote, go all in and just go for players that can help? That could be potentially very interesting, I think. That could be very interesting. Hardman is the Berrios replacement. Get his trade 100%. Yeah, I don't think he's the Elijah Moore replacement. I agree. I think he is the Berrios replacement. Mr. McMoney, people act like OBJ is an injury issue. I don't know if injury issue or scattered events. I know when he came into the league, he had the hamstring issue, which missed a couple of games, but obviously he was still spectacular. As the 2 separate ACL injuries, one in the Super Bowl and one, I think it was Cleveland, and those happened within a span of a year and a half, so that's a little whatever. But that may affect price. I'm not sure if that gets people going crazy, but it has to be a factor, I think. Skills, baby. The way fan bases overrate their own players is hilarious. That's fair. That's fair. I think a lot of us are higher on Elijah Moore than maybe Browns fans are, or just general NFL fans. I think that's certainly possible as well, that we overrate our own players. I think that happens a lot. When you see them so often, you see the best in them. I think so. Also, there's also the other side where you underrate them. The trade request, I think, warped a lot of people's, Jet fans' minds on who they believe Elijah Moore is. Kevin Escorchata, stop. OBJ is one injury away from hurting his knee again. Isn't any player one injury away from hurting themselves again? I don't know. Would have loved to see more in the slot with Elijah, or more in the slot with Aaron Rodgers, excuse me. That would have been, I agree, would have been nice. We've lost more talent than we brought in. WTF. I've heard a few people say this, like, they've lost Mike White, Braxton Berrios, Dan Feeney, Nate Herbig. Like, did we, though? Like, I get the Jets don't have this volume where they're signing 30 guys, but guys, Aaron Rodgers, that's part of the equation. That dramatic jump from one of the worst, if not the worst quarterback room in football to one of the best, top 3, top 5. I mean, people, let's factor that into the offseason equation. The Jets were just, evaluated as like a top 5 team in the NFL after everything that happened in free agency. I think that was like NBC or something. Like, guys, I think we got to give, the proper love about that. Arizona Jet trade Mims next. He's a bigger disappointment. I could see the Jets potentially trading Mims. Again, he's in the last year of his deal. You could flip him. Maybe he's part of the Packers trade with Corey Davis as well. I could see that. Steven, hey, Paul, keep up the great work. You do a great job. You're one of my favorite content creators. I think the reason for that swap in the second round is because we're giving up one of them to Green Bay. That could be, Steven, and I really like that thought. And then you kind of negate, so to speak, or you marginalize or minimize the loss. Although if you're Green Bay, does all of a sudden, oh, so you have that pick now. Is that into the equation? Because that's what I think any good GM would do. Oh, we have a new pick in the equation, and they may push for it. So, Mr. McMoney, you could trade for more in Madden if you want, Jet fans. There you go. There you go. Rob Power, OBJ's producing. I like more. Yeah, so for the people that prefer more youth and all that stuff, OBJ ceiling is pretty high, especially if Rodgers throwing him the ball. Marcelo. Oh, you went to the primetime Jets game against the Jags. I will tell you, I was watching from home. I was so hyped up. And then, of course, how it starts, the Jaguars, 3-and-out, strip sack, Quentin Williams. I'm like, oh, man, the Jets are about to go. And obviously, the playoffs are on the precipice of our minds, of course. The pregame looked fun. The C.J. Mosley, Bain, obviously. And that's a cool thing. Obviously, we're going to see with the Jets primetime games in 2023. They're happening, people, so buckle up. I think the Jets did a really good job. You could tell us better, Marcelo. You were there. I was at home. But they did such a wonderful job with the presentation of like the Bane thing and the intros and the smoke and the light show. You're like, wow. But obviously we don't see that as much because the Jets don't have a lot of primetime games. But that one to me is like, ooh, baby. I'm excited. So I'm sorry for you in particular for having to be forced to watch that game, of course. But hey, we all suck it up and figure it out. Let's see. Ja Prime. Moore was never worth a one. The Jets got good value. Well, they didn't. If they got a second straight up, I would say they got good value, Ja Prime. But it ended up being, according to the draft value chart, a like late third, I believe, or mid third was 66. Was that 32, 64? Oh, early third is what it is. So a third for Elijah? I thought a second. I thought a second, but hey, different strokes, different folks. All right, let me try to go to the latest comments here, and then we'll wrap up. We'll try to be on later for some more stuff for sure. We will not have the Buffalo show tonight. He's taking it off. Let me go for a couple of quickies before we finish up here. Okay, we're getting a lot of stuff in here. Clint, watch how that free agent stuff dries up when the Aaron Rodgers deal falls through. First off, to me, there's a negative % chance Aaron Rodgers trade falls through, so I don't buy that. The free agency stuff drying up. It's not like the Jets, obviously, signing Mecole Hardman, trading Elijah Moore. They're not sitting on their hands. Like, I think they have a pretty good understanding of what the Aaron Rodgers contract is going to look like once they take it on, and they're making moves around that. So I don't think they're going to be like, man, can't wait for the Aaron Rodgers trade to go through. Then we'll do something. No. I don't think so as well. Yes, can see the Jets packaged Elijah Moore, the third-round pick, which is 74th overall, to move up to 42 overall. So it was a pick swap, which, like I said, is somewhat disappointing. Rico the Pup. People will hate this take, but Carter is painfully average and Bam Knight is highly overrated. We do need a legit second running back. I've been pounding the table about that, so hopefully more people are taking that very seriously. Yeah, Michael Carter's coming off a bad year, and Bam Knight is a undrafted free agent. Breece Hall's coming off a torn ACL. People, they need a second running back. Now, the guy I would now target with Jamal Williams off the board, Kareem Hunt. He's a guy the Jets made a call about. I know this. The Jets called the Browns about Kareem Hunt. And they figured the value of a fourth-round pick was too damn high. The rent was too damn high, and they went a different direction. They could go Kareem Hunt. Keep an eye out for that. That could happen. I could see that. I don't know if it's top of the priority list, but I would go Kareem Hunt. Maybe a 1-year prove it deal. That's something I would do. So I would keep an eye out for Kareem Hunt. Again, I don't think it's top of priority list. I don't know if it happens on March 22nd. Maybe it's closer to the draft, but that is something that I would suggest. Let me see. Let's see. He got the trade he wanted. See ya. Yeah, that's true. Elijah Moore. And there were some rumors. Mary Kay Cabot, who covers the Cleveland Browns, mentioned it in a column a couple weeks ago, saying the Browns called. Could they call again? And obviously they did, and hammered out a deal. James Alba. Anyway, this pick gets flipped in a potential Hopkins trade. Seems strange that Hopkins rumors were circulating yesterday, and this drops today. Yeah, that is. Is it coincidental? Who knows? That could be. Again, his contract is pretty reasonable, like 17.5 evaluation for the next 2 years. And apparently, according to reports, he's willing to eat that. And then he'll renegotiate after the fact, which would be great for any team trading for him. Hopkins would be nice. Hopkins would be real nice. Some durability concerns, obviously. And also the Jets are doing homework on OBJ. That would be cool. He'd bring some dynamicism, quite frankly, to the Jets receiving core. That's possible. Who is it? Albert Breer floated that as a possibility for trade. He was one. GB, I've seen this a few times, but let's get it. Was it only quarterback play that limited more in New York? No, but it was the majority of quarterback play. It did not work out for a couple of reasons. So first off, quarterback play was not consistent, and he wasn't getting consistent targets. I mean, that's the blunt way. Elijah Moore wanted the ball, and he wanted to be a part of the winning. The Jets were winning without him. Well, like he was a decoy, I guess, if you take any pride in that. Apparently he did not. He wasn't getting targets. Once he wasn't getting targets, he said, screw this. I'm out. Request a trade. I want out of here. The Jets were like, screw you, pal. We're not trading you. Teams called, of course, and said, hey, is he available? They're like, no, he's not. I mean, anyone's available, relatively speaking, for a price. The $1 million man. Everybody's got a price. There's a little bit of that action, but they weren't going to just trade him because, again, he's 22 years old. They didn't want to give him away for a bag of beans. So we will see. Denzel could be on the move too, I would say. He could be. Let's okay. Let me see if there's anything else. If not, we'll bounce back on later. We'll bounce back on later for some other show. Let me see any final comments. The higher salary is too high potentially for Hopkins. We will see. Again, there's a lot of maneuvering. The Jets have got a lot of low base salaries and kind of backloaded deals for the future. You can't, of course, do that forever. Eventually, you're going to have to pay the Pied Piper, so to speak, but we will see on that. So, guys, to recap, thanks for joining us for this random live stream, the breaking news we had to. You guys can also check out my quick video. It's about 5 minutes long on my YouTube channel. Again, youtube.com/boygreen25. We did a quick vid on Mecole Hardman on that rapid reaction news. That was pre-Elijah Moore, of course, pre-Elijah Moore news. So, guys, feel free to check that out on the channel. Again, like the video, hit subscribe down below for more juicy New York Jets content. We're 4,000 subscribers plus. The Aaron Rodgers trade should be coming sooner rather than later. So we got a lot cooking here. Elijah Moore gone. How do you guys feel about it? Drop it in the comments down below. I'm conflicted, quite frankly, but I understand both sides of the argument. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.